So 35 years ago this month, the wall in Germany came down. Some of you remember that wall that separated East and West Germany. And you remember, no doubt, those of you that are old enough, you remember President Ronald Reagan going and saying very boldly, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," right? So that was 35 years ago this month, that wall came down, separating East and West Germany. Mikhail Gorbachev, who is the last head of the Soviet Union, he worked very hard to bring about a peaceful resolution to the end of communism, and communism fell in 91, as you know, officially. In 1990, Mr. Gorbachev received the Nobel Peace Prize for all of his hard work. 30 years ago, in South Africa, apartheid ended. This racist system that was viciously persecuting the blacks in South Africa. And during that time, the president in South Africa, his name was F.W. de Klerk. He worked very closely with Nelson Mandela to bring about a peaceful resolution. Again, the following year, they both received the Nobel Peace Prize for all their hard work. All three of these men did a lot to really bring about peace. But what's interesting, even though they all received the Nobel Peace Prize, believe it or not, man, those guys were really put through hell by a lot of their own people. They did not want change, a lot of them. Even though they brought about a lot of peace in the world, it could have been real ugly, real quick. A lot of their own people did not want change. We don't want to change. But they said, no, it's time. And this is why I'm mentioning this to you. Over the next 4 weeks of Advent, this is what God is asking us to do. He's asking us to have the courage maybe of these guys and say, look, change is good. We call this conversion. But in order to do that, we have to be willing to work on ourselves. Do you know that the Catholic Church, we've been celebrating Advent since the 4th century? Do you know that? In the year 313, with what's called the Edict of Milan, we had the first Christian emperor. His name was Constantine. His mom was St. Helen, who found the first cross. By the way, big statue of her near the high altar at St. Peter's. Emperor Constantine, thus the city of Constantinople in his honor. We've been celebrating Advent since the 4th century. A few years after this, they wrote the creed that we profess every Sunday in the year 325. Do you know that next year in this parish we're going to have our 75th anniversary as a parish, but we will also have the 1700th anniversary of that creed that we're about to profess. It was written in the year 325. Man, it's a long church. We've been around a little while, haven't we? It's incredible. So, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to hear about Jesus is coming at Christmas, as we heard about in our first reading from which prophet? I know that was 5 minutes ago. Jeremiah, right? And then we're going to hear about his second coming, which we heard about from which gospel today? Luke. I am your father. Right? So we're going to hear about it, the second coming, his first coming, and again, we call that conversion. Yeah? But it may be helpful for us right now at this time, for lack of a better term, to kind of talk about like what's an Advent toolbox? What are some of the things we can kind of work on over the next 4 weeks? So if you permit me, I'm just going to give you 3 suggestions, all of which Father Ben is working on himself. Number 1, look, this is an obvious point, but in case you didn't get this memo, you can't fight every battle. You can't fight every battle, okay? Some people, this is very difficult for some people that are controlling. They have to get the last word in an argument. They have to be right all the time. Let it go, okay? Let it go. Just take it on the chin. By the way, if it's any consolation, priests, we go through this as well. You know, some of you remember 4 years ago, we were trying to train the people of St. Mike's to not prop the doors open, okay? We made the announcement every Sunday for 2 months. We put signs on this door saying, please don't prop the doors open. Then we got stands, and on the stand it said, please do not prop the door open. I came out here one day, and somebody had used the stand to prop the door open. Okay? I said, Father Ben, this is a battle you got to let go. All right? So you want to prop the door open, be my guest. I don't care. Whatever. Okay? You can't fight every battle. And if you do, by the way, nobody's going to listen. They're not going to listen. Oh, there he goes again. There she goes again. Number 2, detachment. What in the world is that, Father? Detachment. The saints talk a lot about this thing they call detachment. What is that? Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross, Francis de Sales, they say this. It's a normal human love and want to be loved and want by other people. We need this in order to be healthy people. However, when we put our peace in the hands of other people, being liked and want, you will never find peace. It's ironic, isn't it? Let me say that again. If you don't remember anything of what I'm telling you this morning, here you go. There are many people who want to be liked and wanted by other people, liked and loved by other people, at the same time thinking nobody can like and love me, and at the same time forgetting about all the people who like and love them. I'll say that again. There's many people, they want to be liked and loved by other people, thinking nobody could possibly like and love me, and at the same time forgetting about all the people around them that like and love them. They don't see it. People around them love them and support them, but they don't see it. But at the end of the day, even though we do need support, at the end of the day, if we put our peace as a person in the hands of others, you will never have peace, ever. Just like Jesus. He said, if they hated me, they're going to hate you. They persecuted me, they're going to persecute you. Your peace does not come by what other people think. Please, please remember that when you are on social media. Finally, you can't win every battle. Detachment and authenticity. What is authenticity? It means that you and I are real people. How do we do that? We're aware of what we need to work on, and we're aware of all of our talents and gifts that God has given us. Some people are acutely aware of the things they need to work on. But if you ask them, what are your talents and your gifts? Jesus talks a lot about this. Let me give you an analogy. Random question. Does anybody remember years ago, you ever get a real tomato? Remember a real tomato? Like you're driving through rural Mississippi or Alabama and they're selling Ripley tomatoes. You pull over it and you get one. You're like, man, that's awesome. You ever have a tomato sandwich in the summer? Little toasted bread, little sliced tomato, little mayonnaise maybe, salt, pepper. I got water in my mouth right now. It's like Pavlov's dog, you know, right? It's beautiful. You don't have to do anything to it. It's beautiful. Bright red, juicy tomato in the summer. Oh, it's beautiful. Now contrast that with a Kroger tomato. I mean, no offense against our Kroger friends here, okay? But like, you get a tomato at the grocery store now. What's it like? It's not red, it's pink. It's not juicy, it's sandy and mealy. It has no flavor. Because it's like It's like a Monsanto genetically altered thing that will never go bad over 10 years. It's gross. It tastes nothing like a tomato, all right? So you got the real deal and you got this. Now, here's my question. Which tomato do you want to be? Pick a tomato, all right? Let's imagine a week from now you're at a Christmas party and you're there and you're talking to somebody and they're nice enough, but the person as you're talking, they keep looking over your shoulder to see who just walked in the room. What are they wearing? You know these people? They're never engaged with you. In other words, they're a Kroger tomato. You get it? Contrast that, then 10 minutes later, you're talking to somebody that is with you. They're with you. And they're engaged. Tell me about you. Tell me about you. And you get the sense that's a real person. And you get in your car and you go home and you're like, something different about that woman. That's what I mean. How do we become a real Ripley tomato? I'm going to tell you. You're aware of what you need to work on and you are humble enough to work on it. And you're aware of what you are doing well, your gifts, your talents, and you work on those. And here's the good news. As we work on what we need to work on, as a byproduct, you will grow in your talents and gifts without even being aware of it. You want to give your spouse, your children, and yourself a Christmas present that's worth something this year? I'll tell you how to do it. Become a better person. Become a better person. No greater gift than you can give your spouse and your kids. For me, there's no greater gift that I can give the people of St. Mike's than to be a better priest. I'll start tomorrow. So, I'll close with this. Some of you may know that December 16th in this parish, we will be having a class for people who have lost loved ones during the Christmas season. It's very difficult for a lot of people. Myself, my dad passed away this year too. So we're going to have a class for people. And those of you that have lost loved ones, maybe you know this experience. You ever had this happen? You ever gotten this little sense that the person who's passed away is trying to tell you, it's okay. It's okay. Like maybe your dad passed away and you're going through his closet and you have a sense of smell. My dad used to smoke a pipe, and I went through his stuff not long ago. I smelled pipe smoke. I felt like my dad was telling me, Ben, it's good. It's good. It's okay. Maybe the loved one loved rainbows. You see a rainbow. Maybe you hear a song they loved on the radio. Maybe you saw a cardinal or a butterfly, and they loved cardinals and butterflies. And it's as if the person is telling you, I'm good. I'm good. Be at peace. There's actually a phrase that we refer to that. It's called spiritual synchronicities. They call that spiritual synchronicities. But here's the deal, and this is why I'm telling you this. Because when somebody is not working on themselves, they will never notice that stuff. They'll never notice, they'll miss all the times that God or this person is trying to communicate with you. Why? Because they're totally self-absorbed. All of their attention is here. And it's as if God is like... That's why Jesus says, he who has eyes, let him see. He who has ears, let him hear. Look around you. Because the truth is, folks, you may be going through a tough time right now, and I'm not minimizing that. But the truth is, the person you wake up next to may be going through something far worse that you're not aware of. You want to give them a good Christmas present? Work on yourself.